Seneca was worth hundreds of millions in today's money, multiple villas, political power, everything. And he wrote more warnings about wealth than almost any philosopher in history, not because he hated money, because he understood something most rich people never do. These are his 5 rules. Rule 1. Money changes your problems. Most people believe this. Get more money and everything gets better. Seneca was the richest man in Rome. He had more money than most people could imagine. And he said, "For many men, the acquisition of wealth does not end their troubles. It only changes them." Think about that for a second. The anxious broke person becomes the anxious rich person. The insecure poor person becomes the insecure wealthy person. The unhappy person with nothing becomes the unhappy person with everything. Money changes the backdrop. It doesn't change you. The person who thinks, "When I finally make enough, everything will be fine," has never made enough. Because enough keeps moving. The problems just get more expensive. Seneca knew this from experience. He watched Rome's wealthiest men with more than they could ever spend, still restless, still chasing, still miserable. The belief that money solves problems is the most expensive lie most people never question. But here is where it gets interesting. Because Rule 2 is not about how much money you have. It is about something that makes you poorer than you realize right now. Rule 2. Wanting more makes you poor. Seneca wrote one line that redefines what poverty actually means. It is not the man who has too little that is poor. It is the man who craves more. Read that again. You could have 10 million in the bank and be the poorest person in the room. If you need 20 to feel okay, you are broke. Not in your account, in your mind. Real wealth is not a number. It is the gap between what you have and what you need. Make that gap small enough and you are wealthy right now. Today, without earning another dollar. Most people spend their entire lives trying to increase what they have. Seneca said the smarter move is to decrease what you crave, because desire is a moving target. You hit the number and the number moves. You buy the thing and the thing stops satisfying. You reach the goal and immediately see the next one. The man who always needs more will never feel rich no matter what he earns. The man who has learned to want less already has everything he needs. That is the rule most people never hear. And it connects directly to Rule 3, which is a question Seneca said every person needs to answer honestly about themselves. Rule 3. Money is either your slave or your master. Seneca wrote, "Wealth is the slave of a wise man and the master of a fool." Simple, but sit with it. Are you controlling your money or is your money controlling you? Most people never ask this question. They just assume because they are earning it, they must be in control of it. But here is how you actually know. If you lost it all tomorrow, would you still be yourself? Would your sense of worth survive it? Would you know who you are without it? If the answer is no, it owns you. You do not own it. The man who built his identity around his bank balance has handed his entire sense of self to something completely outside his control. Something the market, the economy, one bad decision can take overnight. Seneca had enormous wealth, and he held it loosely. He knew it could be gone. Exile, political enemies, Nero's mood on a Tuesday. He made sure that if it disappeared, he would still be standing. That relationship with money, using it without being used by it, is the whole game. And Rule 4 is the most practical thing Seneca ever said about how to do that. Rule 4. Let money into your house, not your heart. Seneca said the wise man does not love wealth, but he would rather have it. He does not admit it into his heart, only into his home. That one line is everything. There is nothing wrong with having money. Seneca had an enormous amount of it. The Stoics never said wealth was evil. They said attachment to wealth was the problem. The moment money moves from your home into your heart, everything changes. It becomes your identity, your measure of success, your proof of worth, the thing you protect above everything else, including your relationships, your values, your integrity. And when that happens, you have lost something money can never buy back. Use it, enjoy it, build with it, but don't let it tell you who you are, because the person who knows the difference between having money and needing money is completely free in a way that most wealthy people never experience. Which brings us to Rule 5. This is the one Seneca practiced himself, deliberately, regularly, and it is the fastest route to feeling genuinely wealthy that nobody talks about. If these ideas are hitting different, subscribe to 5 Ideas Daily. Rule 5. To feel rich, want less. Seneca said something that sounds impossible until you try it. If you want to make someone rich, do not add to their money. Subtract from their desires. And then he did something almost nobody does. He lived it. Regularly, not as punishment but as practice, Seneca would strip his life back to almost nothing. Basic food, simple clothes, no comfort, no luxury. For days at a time, he would prove to himself that he did not need any of it, not because he was trying to suffer, because he was building something money cannot buy. The knowledge, real tested knowledge, not just an idea, that he could lose everything and still be fine. Think about what that does for you. The person who has proven they can live with almost nothing is never afraid of losing more. They have already been there. They chose to be there, and they survived it just fine. Most people are terrified of losing what they have because they have never tested life without it. Every financial decision is shadowed by that fear. Every risk feels catastrophic. Seneca eliminated that fear deliberately by choosing the discomfort before it could be forced on him. That is not poverty. That is the most powerful relationship with money a person can have. Want less, need less, fear less. That is what it actually means to be rich. So here's the question Seneca would ask you right now. If you lost everything tomorrow, who would you be? If the answer scares you, that is where the real work starts. Drop in the comments. Which of these 5 rules hit you the hardest? And if these ideas are building something in you, subscribe. 5 Ideas Daily, every week. This video is for educational and motivational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice.